Despite the Jailer being one of the main guys in the universe and potentially the most terrifying being ever, lore-wise, for mortals at least, I can't really say his creations are all that scary. I'd say Void and Legion were definitely a bit more creative when it came to building monsters, but other than them, there are still some beings that would really chill any mortal to the bone. So, what are some of Zoal's most horrific creations? How about crushing the Ice Golem or taking down the Demon Lord? You can do all that from your pocket in Raid Shadow Legends, one of the most developed mobile RPGs. A really cool thing is happening right now as they just added Ninja, the famous streamer, into the game. He not only wields katana and a bow, but he also has a cool backstory. Ninja was taken as a baby by the Shadowkin Raiders, raised by them, and taught the arts of Shadow, becoming their ultimate weapon against the evil demon spawn hordes. Now, Raid is particularly great because he's just one of the hundreds of champions you can collect, and they all have awesome stories. You can mix and match various characters into teams, and the combinations are just endless. Right now you can get Ninja for absolutely free until October 15th. However, as he's limited edition, he will never be available again. This month, Raid also released a ton of new clan features, brand new quests, and even a brand new clan shop, as well as loads of events to take part in. So, if you want to start on the right foot, click the link in the description or scan the QR code from the screen. All new players will get the epic hero Konoru, great for Doom Tower, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and an ancient shard to summon immediately. All the rewards will be right here for the next 3 days, so check out the link in the description and see you in game. Number 10. Maw Guards. They may be the least scary on the list, but nonetheless, they are pretty terrifying. Maw Guards are like the foot soldiers of the Jailer, quite similar to Legion's Fel Guards that we all remember. We don't really know too much about their origin, but we are aware at least a bit of their creation process. Essentially, they start out as these armored husks, soulless and just empty armors, more than likely built from some very powerful, very potent metal at one of the various forges within the Maw. Then, Stygian smiths attach souls to them. However, not any souls. Within the Maw, they deem souls suitable for service and they break them down to their barest essence, turning them into shades, and ultimately they attach them to this armor. So you have essentially a mindless servant so broken that there is no hope to ever recover their memories or whatever else they really were in life. Outside of the regular Maw Guards, you also have the Mawcasters, which are quite similar but they just fight in a different way. There are also various smiths and necromancers. Interestingly enough, their creation process is actually quite similar to that of the Lich King. The Jailer with the Legion essentially did just that. He built a powerful suit of armor and a blade, and then attached the broken soul of Ner'zhul to it. I guess the only difference is that Ner'zhul was not as broken nearly as much as these guys, which is why he still kept some autonomy and ultimately attempted to escape. Number 9. Beasts. There are various types of beasts you may have ran into them all, and I'd say all of them are equally scary. Very little is actually known about them, but thus far we have seen 2 notable ones: Soul Eaters and Shade Hounds. We really have no idea how they were created and why they're even beasts in the Maw in the first place, but I think we can all agree that they're pretty creepy. Soul Eaters look like skeletal hounds with wicked talons and spikes, and they're known for one thing: eating souls, as is evident by their name, which may as well be their only purpose. There are also winged and wingless versions of them. Second, we have the Shade Hounds, which are essentially beast Maw Guards, just in a hound-like armor, but infused with animal souls. We also don't know why exactly animal souls are within the Maw, but they're definitely used by the Jailer quite a bit, that is for certain. Number 8. Shades. These are not really scary, as in gigantic, but they're definitely just absolutely creepy. We've learned that shades are essentially the building blocks for almost all of the Mawsorn. Once a soul is deemed suitable for service, they're broken so much that the only result is a shade devoid of all individual will. Then, usually these are infused into most other beings on this list. However, there is something particularly creepy about having these shades just wandering mindlessly around found the Maw in various forms, just raw building material. You may have noticed everything from single shades to these monstrosities that are sort of amalgamations with many heads attached into one, without a doubt having multiple broken souls just wandering around as this single scary ghost thing. I don't know about you, but there's just something sad and eerie about having broken souls bunched into one whatever it is and just mindlessly roaming the Maw, especially when you realize that these were once mortals from other planets just like our characters. Number 7. Kyrian. Not too creepy on first glance, but when you really examine them, you realize that they're almost quite literally fallen dark angels. The Kyrian themselves are as close to angels as we have in Warcraft, and they're literal soul guides that take the fallen mortals to their destinations within the Shadowlands. Only the most dedicated across the universe joined the ranks of Bastion, and through wiping out their memories and 100% dedicating themselves, they had ascended. The problem is, however, that becoming a Kyrian takes a bit of how should we say it, brainwashing. All their memories need to be wiped out and they need to 100% align with their purpose. There is just no room for any sort of doubts. Well, the Jailer, as he started growing more powerful, recently played on exactly that, and so many new trainees started doubting everything and just turning to his side. Even some of the long-established Kyrian ultimately doubted Bastion's mission and switched their allegiance, and on the other hand, a portion were converted forcibly by Helya. Since then, they have been key agents of Zobal. They were the ones that kidnapped Anduin and other heroes. They abduct beings from the sky and use their chains. As I said, not really too scary on first glance, but there is just something chilling when you think about it. This bright, angelic being that is supposed to grace your soul as it gently carries you to the afterlife is now a dark, nearly demonic being using chains and ultimately abducting their victims. Number 6. Husks. So, we know about next to nothing of these monstrosities, but damn, are they scary. They are very similar to Shades, just in a very twisted humanoid form, and they're also notable for mostly having runes carved into them. As far as we know, these runes are of domination magic that keeps them bound to the Jailer. We don't really know why they're called Husks exactly, and they obviously resemble the undead vehicle. They use the same animations, but my speculation is that they're like the more humanoid versions of Shades, broken souls that just manifested in different ways. And with their creepy appearance, I'd say their name is quite justified. Number 5. Elementals. If you've been going through the Maw, you may have ran into the Elementals and wondered, how is it possible that the Elementals are within the Shadowlands? Well, as far as we know, they're not really connected in any way to those of the Elemental Plane or the general native Elementals to planets, but they're just manifestations of hatred known as Death Elementals. We know very little about them. For example, the Maldraxxus ones are known to be formed from necromantic energies left from previous battles. However, lore on the Jailer's Elementals is extremely limited. Nonetheless, we have seen many versions of them. There is the Blazing Stygia, the Fire Elementals that are literally just burning hatred that wander around and unleash their fury upon broken souls. We also have soul energies that have been trapped for untold ages that just manifest as these elementals, and I'd say they're just beyond even Shades. Furthermore, there are all sorts of versions of them, as in Goliaths, Worms, Behemoths, and the like. Having remnants of souls broken eons ago and hatred manifest in humanoid-like forms is pretty scary if you ask me. Number 4. Behemoths. These may in fact be single-handedly the scariest beings that serve the Jailer directly. We don't know how exactly they're created, what is the process behind them, but as with the Maw Guards, my guess is that they're either a very powerful soul infused into this suit of armor, or many broken souls that turn this giant into essentially a robot ready to obey Zobal's commands. We have seen them in many sizes, smaller ones, fire-infused ones, but without a doubt, the scariest out of all of them is the Terragru that may as well be a species for himself. I'm guessing most of you encountered him at least once if you failed the Dorghast, and now in 9.1, ultimately we defeated him within the raid. Realistically, I don't even know how we were able to defeat him, because what even is this creature? Is it undead? Is it actually alive? It's literally a gigantic metal suit of armor with spikes and just horns everywhere. Number 3. Bone Wraiths. These These are some of the most confusing yet most terrifying ones. All of you WoW veterans remember Lord Maw from the Icecrown Citadel, a flying skeleton with many heads wielding a gigantic axe. Well, since Wrath of the Lich King, we have encountered these beings in almost every expansion, and now in the Shadowlands, I think it is safe to say that this is their actual place of origin. Maw Guards, by their other name, exist as Maldraxxi constructs, and they're also known as powerful as they require large amounts of anima to be summoned. In fact, defeating them is a ritual within Maldraxxus. Interesting enough, even very powerful necromancers can transform themselves into these beings as well. However, we have also seen bone raids serving the Jailer, and without a doubt, I'd say this creation is connected to Zobal, essentially siphoning all the relevant war information from Primus and Maldraxxus. Despite not new, these bone raids are without a doubt some of the most visually scary servants. Number 2. Eye of the Jailer. Or better yet, Eyes of the Jailer. The Maw is filled with these soul seekers that constantly patrol the realm, delivering information to Zobal. They go around the zone, search for suspicious activity, and immediately attack and eliminate intruders. Now, we don't really know how they were created exactly, but we definitely know the origin of the Eye of the Jailer, the largest soul seeker that seems like a personal pet of Zobal's. Eons ago, the main Titan Keeper on Azeroth was essentially tricked by Muizala, and he gave his eye willingly in order to peer into the Shadowlands. There, Odin saw Bastion and the winged Kyrian, which was but a tiny glimpse, but he was beyond impressed. So, because of that, he decided to create the Valkyr and shape his Halls of Valor according to this limited vision. Little did we know that Muizala was an ally of the Jailer, and he took his eye and created the largest soul seeker ever. This was the eye that was attacking us constantly in the Maw, and finally we got to face off against it in Sanctum of Domination. Even Odin himself and his Valar helped us in this endeavor. Now, I gotta say, it is pretty creepy to have wandering eyes running around the Maw, but having an actual ripped out eye of a Titan Watcher turned into a weapon is just crazy. We don't really know how these soul seekers were created, but my headcanon is that they were built in much the same manner as the Eye, just from lesser beings. And lastly, number 1, Scourge. Ultimately, even though a separate faction, the Scourge is obviously a creation of the Jailer, serving to expand his influence on Azeroth. Now, despite being kinda irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion, this might just be the most horrific creation of Zobal's. Of course, we don't know how much Zobal really did here personally, but recently we learned that the Scourge was not just the Lich King's doing, and most recently, Zobal took direct command over it. We know that Maldraxxus was constantly tapped into, which makes absolute sense, as the Jailer has been siphoning anything he can from Primus, the leader of Maldraxxus, in order to expand his war machinery. This is evident on Azeroth with the Scourge's architecture, as well as the undead creations, which are incredibly similar to that of Maldraxxus. However, ultimately, the Scourge had some of the scariest and, in my opinion, even more creepy creation than the ones controlled by the Jailer. That flesh giant created from the civilians, massive frostbone dragons, all types of abominations, the fallen Vrykul and Scourge-controlled giants, and all sorts of just crazy things crafted by the Lich King. In my opinion, the scariest beings were almost exclusively those that were patched from multiple bodies and souls, starting from regular abominations to the beings that I previously mentioned. Thank you for watching. Check out whether the Lich King was really a servant of the Jailer or not, and also check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real-world history and science. See you next time.